Imagine being adored by millions online, only to abandon them forever. Believe it or not, many Roblox players spent years building up their name, only to vanish at the height of it all, and for reasons you might not expect. So to find out why they did this and where they could be, we need to dive into their full stories one by one. Starting with Azoo5573. An average kid who joined Roblox for the very first time, ready for the wonderful adventures that'll... what are you guys doing here?
Oh my gosh, it's Azoo!
Azoo, please friend me.
No way I got in your server!
No way, I met you.
Hold up, why are you crowding this innocent player? Wait, what's that music? Well, I guess that explains it. Turns out this random kid is the billionth Roblox user, which was pretty big for the entire community, and especially for Azoo. Azoo loved all the attention she was getting. Well, at least for the time being. After a while, she noticed how valuable her account truly was. Literally a once-in-a-lifetime chance. She couldn't possibly let anyone ruin it. So to be safe, she cleared her friends list. But despite that, players still kept pestering her for obvious reasons.
I no longer be accepting friends. At all.
Yeah, surely your secret account will be safe now. Right? Well, even with this warning, a player somehow stalked Azoo in a game and filmed it. Except she was acting a little bit off.
I have to tell you something depressing. Don't say this to anyone.
It's time to investigate. The video's title says Azoo got password guessed, a form of getting hacked. Her worst fear. That's a pretty bold claim, so we need at least two pieces of evidence. After she acted weird, Azoo, or who we think is Azoo, was asked,
"How'd you get into the account?"
and answered with,
I just got the password.
So someone may have guessed her password and logged into the account.
So, you're not the real Azoo?
I hate to say it, but she could have been hacked by someone who's jealous. But, at the same time, she could have easily lied to get people away from her. She did want to protect her account. I mean, that's something a normal kid would do, right? Well, we're forgetting a major piece of the puzzle. Her Roblox game, or her home as she says. In this game, you would expect something normal, considering she's an average player. I think. But if we join her game for 10 seconds... Yeah, this doesn't match up. Yeah, I'm out. With all this evidence, it's safe to say she just got hacked. But strangely enough, the creepy game was made on the exact day she joined Roblox. This may seem small, but it makes the story a lot darker. You see, if she was acting normal the entire time, how can she possibly make a game this scary right when she joined? This could mean one of two things. Either one, Azoo is a pretty disturbing kid. Okay, probably not. Or two, she was immediately hacked right as she joined without even knowing. Thankfully, there's one more piece of evidence I forgot. The guy in the video from before also stated Azoo logged out of her account for a whole month after she joined. Theoretically, she could have logged out after making the account, only for someone else to hack in and make the creepy game, without her knowing, of course. And after a month, she logged back in and realized she was famous. So she took safety measures, only for her to get hacked again, as seen in this video. So from that point on, she's been exiled out of her special account for half a decade. The situation is honestly really sad. She's just an innocent kid who happened to be the billionth user. So lots of bad apples took that away. To this day, we don't know where she is or what she's up to. So let's hope our next story ends off on a happier note. Unlike Azoo, Ripple didn't join as some legendary player with everyone crowding him. In fact, he joined in 2008, one of Roblox's deadest times. But for Ripple, Roblox was a sandbox game, a canvas for creativity, and he wouldn't let his time stop him from creating something great. So with the help of his loyal brother, they began to work on game after game, with the goal of making something out of this small platform. But since it was 2009, none of them really surfaced. However, that's when an idea hit him.
What if I took inspiration from a bigger game than Roblox?
This is the PS1, a legendary game console with one of its biggest games being Destruction Derby, which he was a pretty big fan of. With this fun idea, Ripple morphed it into a brand new game, Roblox Derby. The game was simple. You spawn with a car and your only goal is to crash into as many people as possible. This gives you points to level up your car. For legal reasons, I must clarify that this isn't Roblox. Well, for some odd reason, players found satisfaction out of vehicular assault,
I have a bulldozer!
causing the game to reach 7 million visits, which at the time converted to 700,000 robux, a nice motivation to keep things going. By doing something that works and something you love, you're destined to succeed as long as you keep going at it. But as time went on, he noticed that other games beat him in competition. But being the dedicated dev he was, he used his money to grind out a new game. But unlike all the other games, this one had way more potential. It was way ahead of its time, but to fully understand how, let's compare it to a modern game, Star Rail Simulator, the sponsor of this video. Similarly to Ripple, the owner was inspired by Honkai Star Rail, a popular RPG. He turned it into a Roblox game where your goal is to defeat monsters to get credits for stronger abilities. And as for Ripple, he was inspired by every Roblox game, so we combined them all into one big idea which no one has ever thought of. Ripple minigames. How this game works is you and your friends are selected to play a random minigame with its own special game mode and vibe. Likewise, Star Rail Simulator is split into two main areas, each with their own vibes. And on top of that, a boss. Beating them gives you rewards to proceed to the next world. It's a clever parody of the actual game, so right off the bat, fans of Honkai flock to the game's release. But as for Ripple, with over 30 minigames, it's not a surprise that the game quickly did numbers. The games were all simple, so people outside of Roblox noticed it, and especially Roblox himself, which you'll see why it's important. But back to our modern game. Unlike most simulators, the game has an event every 10 minutes, spawning a server boss that everyone has to defeat with the help of Sparkle, Pom Pom, Black Swan, March 7th, and Blade. Special fighters that came from and can be used in the original Honkai. Anyways, beating the boss gives you Stellar Jades, a special currency to get even more OP abilities. And as for Honkai itself, you can use my code to get 50 Stellar Jades. So now it's a good time to check out the game's events. Oh, and speaking of events, every year Roblox hosts a special event, Egg Hunt, which everyone loved. To do this, he chose his favorite games to hide them, one of them being Ripple minigames. Immediately, players flocked to the game to find the eggs, but while doing so, got obsessed with the various different minigames it had to offer. Overnight, the game was hitting record numbers. Ripple was thriving, players were playing, and even Roblox himself was happy. With the game bringing life to the platform, this seems like the start of an incredible journey. But during all the success, one player in particular was heavily inspired and thought,
surely I can make my own version of this.
Just like how Ripple was inspired by Destruction Derby, Typical was inspired by Ripple minigames. It's a beautiful cycle. So a few weeks later, he made Epic Minigames, a near perfect replica of Ripple's, except with better maps, better game modes, and better marketing. Now that I say it, it seems kind of threatening to Ripple's game. But let's not be negative, I'm sure they'll totally coexist in harmony. Despite their competition, both games grew at the exact same speed, except Epic Minigames was more frequent with updates. Every week, they added more creative minigames, which even the Roblox staff really loved.
These devs seem dedicated. We should include them in our official events.
So in June of that year, Epic Minigames had its first event, where players get a special item from playing the minigames. This was a genius move, because Roblox back then was getting tons and tons of new players, and the minigames themselves were easy to understand. This did wonders for Epic Minigames, so a few months later, Roblox included them in another event. And another... and another... Wait, I feel like we're missing something. Isn't this video supposed to be about... Oh. After all the support, Epic Minigames assembled a way bigger team, leaving Ripple in the dust. So he passed his crown and quietly moved on. But he was far from done. Just like his first success, he took inspiration from another one of his favorite games, Rust, a multiplayer survival game. The idea was pretty simple, so with a small team, they made a whole new group called Rovive, spent a year passionately working on the map and weapons, with the hopes of this game finally getting... Aw, come on. You may be wondering how a guy Roblox loves got banned. Well, this began when a fan made their own group inspired by him, but the group in question made a game completely ripping off Pokemon. Roblox thought it was Ripple's group and punished him instead. Attempt after attempt, Ripple angrily tried to get his stuff back, but to no avail. But after days of pestering, he got his account back, but he saw the platform in a different light. Ever since, he was getting less and less active with his game, until he completely disappeared. If you go to his main game, it's still up, but his profile is completely banished. Perhaps Roblox banned him again, but if you go to his Twitter, he says he's permanently retired. People claimed this was because he allegedly scammed his team for Rovive, which could explain a lot. With all this spreading around and his throne being taken, it's honestly kinda sad. But a clue he left behind caught me off guard. According to a website that saves data, Ripple states he's no longer enjoying Roblox and only wants money. So these issues really killed his passion, causing him to focus more on life. But either way, after pioneering a new type of game, helping with huge events, and bringing life to the platform, he's definitely made his mark. So let's hope he inspired the new generation to do the same. Well, we're in luck, cause our next player might do just that. Just like Ripple, he's driven, dedicated, and determined to make Roblox games. Cause years before, he's been a fan of them, but none of them truly stood out. So, he wanted to be as different as possible with his games. To make myself and Decabox more clear, let's investigate his earliest game. The game was simple. You can morph into a baby, teen, adult, then do whatever your heart tells you to. What can possibly go wrong? On the surface, this seems like another plain, boring roleplay game.
But didn't you just say he's different?
Quiet. Cause here's where the twist comes in. Unlike most of these devs, Decabox was brave enough to give another player, Albert, admin, who just so happens to be the biggest Roblox YouTuber. With this special power, Albert used it to do some pretty nice things.
I just want to break the server for them because I don't think they should be playing right now.
Okay, maybe not so nice. But with the game's nonchalant nature and Albert's excessive trolling, players were on the edge of their seats. He also added a game pass for admin commands, and as Decabox expected, his viewers crowded the game. Quickly, his basic roleplay game became a haven for experiments, like griefing, spying, and abusing.
Just die, dude.
But it's all in good fun, and it brought life to Decabox's hard work, and especially his other roleplay games. Despite the money he made, that didn't matter at all to him. What actually mattered was people having fun in the games he made, and he was especially thankful for Albert helping him out. But every action always has an equal force against it. Okay, in simple terms, the more players the game had, the more it got pushed on Roblox. Since the game was a roleplay game, a lot of online daters found it and used it for questionable activities, which made it impossible for normal players to have fun. Oh, and not to mention, this happened in every one of his roleplay games. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Everyone thought Decabox was responsible for this. In retaliation, trolls infested his game with bots and framed Decabox for doing it. And just like with Ripple, Roblox believed he actually did it and banned his account, which locked this group that had all his games. Reasonably, he was upset, very upset in fact, not because his group had 3 million Robux, but because he worked so hard to build it and no amount of money can get it back. But after getting support from his fans and the biggest YouTubers, he was determined to pick up where he left. So right away, he made a new account named Decapad. Thankfully, he saved some games in an RBX file and was able to re-upload them. But players still found it and reported him. Although he was mad at this, it didn't stop him from making new accounts.
What if we try this one more time but have the games, and group under a different name?
That's actually brilliant. No way the mods will detect it. No. Surely, there must be more to this than online daters. Players must have found worse reasons to report him, cause the ban reason says he sold Robux for real money, a massive violation of the rules. But according to Decabox, all he did was trade his friend expensive items, but Roblox thought he sold it for real money.
Would he be selling the limited if he ends up getting them back? I don't think so.
Even after proving his case, the admin still did nothing.
Unban Decabox!
He didn't do anything.
He doesn't deserve this.
Ban after ban, he lost more and more hope. Until... you get the picture. But instead of dwelling on the negative, we should all be happy with what he tried to do. In the short span of a year, he kickstarted the biggest Roblox series for millions to enjoy, paved the way for current roleplay games, and made a living off of Roblox, and especially for others, enough to enjoy his retirement and live his life to the fullest. So we shouldn't let trolls take that thought away. Although we don't know where he is now, I think it's best to respect his privacy and honor him as a person, and let him move on to a new chapter of his life. But doesn't that make you realize, these free players had a lot going for them, but because of that, players mistreated them without giving them a chance to speak for themselves, driving them off the platform. No matter how rich, famous, or beloved someone is, there's always a person behind that screen with real emotions. Which is why for my next video, I'll be interviewing the richest Roblox players, not just to find their secrets, but to understand and relate to them as human beings like you and me. So if you don't want to miss it, please check if you're subscribed. I guarantee it'll be worth it. But for now, that's a wrap.